That's what we are covering today. These terribly cheesy, zero moral reality programs that our kids are consuming and obsessed with, and the stats are off the charts. What does that say about everything?
Welcome to Girls Gone Gritty. We are not together, sadly, just before our nation's 250th birthday, but we are always together in patriotism and heart, tuning in on the eve of our nation's 250th birthday, 4th of July. It's exciting to celebrate this incredible country that we are blessed to live in and to share fun moments with our family and friends, whether you're going to the beach, going to a picnic, taking in the fireworks.
I love the 4th of July so much. And it started out when I was younger, going to Brewster, Massachusetts on the Cape with family over the 4th of July. And I won the parade one year by having a white sheet draped on me. My mom made a crown out of tinfoil, a little flame out of tinfoil, and a paper towel holder. And I was the Statue of Liberty. It was the cutest costume. And I look back at those pictures and think that's where the 4th of July became something magical for me. And ever since then, I look forward to the day, and we always do something really fun to celebrate our independence and to be thankful that we live where we live.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You're reminding me of when I was growing up. My mom made us little patriotic dresses. This is when people still made homemade everything. We had little bonnets. I think I still have one. And I wore it for my Little Miss Muffet costume with the Betsy Ross style lace around the top. It would go on the top of your head like a shower cap. It's just incredible when those memories come back.
Everybody should have a visual of what 4th of July means to them. Moving to Florida meant that the boat races were happening, and it was a huge boat race, and all of us would bring our boats out into the ocean, and we would line the path of the cigarette boats, and overhead were helicopters, and it was a massive flotilla. And that was high school through college. I could go so many places and know I'm having a fantastic time. Here, we started doing our bike crawl and wear red, white, and blue swag, either for Memorial Day or for the 4th of July. You just can't go wrong.
I think we need to make that happen this weekend, Far. I think that we need to bring back our bike tour for the nation's 250. If we're not going to do it this year, when would we do it?
True. It's a big banger of a celebration.
And
coming up after that wonderful intro is our top 3. Number 3, Scooter and Sweeney scoot into Times Square incognito.
Well, here we go. Scooter Braun and Sydney Sweeney making headlines by just showing up because they're beautiful people. They've been dating since 2025. She said she had never been to Times Square. Her fans called her out because they said she already have been to Times Square a couple of times. The video went viral.
I think what happened is she's been there for working projects, but had never been to Times Square as a person like you and I. And they got on city bikes and biked there. They had hoodies on and sunglasses. They got pizza in one of the local spots, and her American Eagle campaign is huge on the Jumbotrons in Times Square. And she was probably a little giddy to see herself up there. And the song New York was playing in the background, and all the characters were in Times Square. And here's Sid Sweeney, probably one of the most famous, recognizable icons of the moment, incognito, dancing in front of the Jumbotron featuring her campaign. So I think it was a special moment, and Scooter caught it on video and then posted it, and it went viral. And it just shows it doesn't matter who you are, celeb, superstar, whatever. You're just a person at the end of the day. And she wanted to be in Times Square, taking in her billboard with her man, acting like a normal person.
Even though she's not.
It's very hard to get away with that type of a situation. But at 11 o'clock at night, they made it happen, and we're just part of the riffraff in Times Square.
Oh, that's great.
Number 2, from Marilyn Monroe singing Happy Birthday, Mr. President, to a cage fight on the South Lawn. What's next?
If you missed our president's 80th birthday, a lot of people did because you had to pay-per-view it. There was a massive octagonal stage that was put up on the South Lawn of the White House, and they had 6 UFC fights that took place over the course of the evening with the large fighter jet display. It was over the top of over the top. And there was a lot of backlash from the event politically and from just a humanitarian standpoint, that the White House lawn is the backdrop for cage fighting, for two people with gloves off beating the heck out of each other.
What an odd choice for Trump's 80th. You would think he would have had a top hat cake that was red, white, and blue with 250 on it and a hot chick popping out of it.
He's playing to his base, the base that loves UFC. UFC has had a tremendous uptick of virality, and their pay-per-views do extremely well. And yeah, Dana White is a massive fan. Nothing like this has ever happened in history. There's never been a stage set for a president's birthday to this scale and size. And there are a lot of question marks as to why we picked that. It's not what I would like the world to see representing us, but that's what happened. And he did it. He did it his way. That's for sure. And Dana White said it never is going to happen again. It was a tremendous expense, and I'm not sure what they got out of it. I think they got a lot of headache from people not being psyched about the backdrop from the political, entertainment, and world stage.
Sounds like a good miss for me. I was in Nantucket without Wi-Fi for days, so I missed that whole debacle. Good miss.
Yeah, it's a definite good miss.
Number one. World Cup mania is out of this world, literally.
There's so much World Cup stuff going on if you're paying attention. So if you're in Boston, you've been invaded by the Scottish fans that are taking over your pubs and drinking everything. If you're on an escalator trying to get to the World Cup, you have the Norwegian team doing their row. But the Brazilian team has a psychic that's predicting at the World Cup playoff against Brazil and Scotland, there is going to be a UFO that abducts 700 people. She's had multiple dreams about it. It's all over social media. My husband's company was talking about it yesterday, about how this person is getting so much traction. She also predicted a tsunami at one point. It never happened. God forbid something like this happens, because the world will lose its mind.
That's happening June 24th in Miami. So if you are attracted to UFOs and you feel like you want to go elsewhere, that might be your game. And if not, I would make sure I was nowhere near.
And by the time you're all listening to this, we will know if they have been here, done that. Yikes.
I'm putting my money on it doesn't go down.
Me too.
That's where I'm putting my money.
Me too. And you won our bet on the Knicks winning in less than 7. I was the conspiracy theorist that said that they were going to go all the way to monetize it to the end of 7, but I lost that bet too. I'm hoping we're on the same side of the bet when it comes to aliens coming.
Well, I hope we're never going to be betting on who's winning the reality-based love television programs that have gone viral, like Love Island. That's what we are covering today. These terribly cheesy, zero moral reality programs that our kids are consuming and obsessed with, and the stats are off the charts. What does that say about everything?
If you listened to us last week, we talked about the insanity and the inane of 6, 7, and I'm saying it, 41, not 41. You recognize that so much that we are consuming has no true value. There's nothing behind it. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors and interest and likes and going viral and getting people on board with something. Love Island, I was with my nieces and nephews, and they were glued to the television like I had never seen. One thing that did make me happy was they all were sitting together watching it. We were able to comment and exchange thoughts as it was going down. That's something good that's happening out of some of these viral shows. Dating is very important. And I think the conversations that happen around that, they're the ones that brought this to me. I would have never thought to talk about it, but I was like, is this really what you guys think is real? I'm watching it and I'm dumbfounded as I'm piled on a couch with all my nieces and nephews. You guys know that this is not how people date, right? Because this is how they're learning. We were learning from Little House on the Prairie and Love Boat, and there was moral to the stories are important, because this is how some of these young girls are learning the rules of dating. And the rules of dating on these shows are not the rules that you want your child to learn.
When I was their age, I was obsessed with 90210 and Melrose Place. There wasn't this reality type show, but that was a show that we would have watch parties for. And there was a lot of dating and swapping of partners. Aaron Spelling was very good at creating that type of a show that had a cult following.
Love Island USA is crushing it.
It's the #1 most streamed original reality series across platforms. That says something right there. That's upsetting. The Bachelor. I did watch The Bachelor. Wasn't it Trista and Ryan?
Yeah.
I think that they were the first couple and they ended up really loving each other and getting married. And I think they're still married today. And we would do Bachelor watch parties. And then it went from The Bachelor to The Bachelorette. So you can see how this is growing and ramping up. The Bachelor was done relatively tastefully. It was definitely based on looks. And then they did The Millionaire Bachelor. And from there, I feel like The Bachelorette became a little bit more cheesy. And then enter the phenomenon of Love Island. There's been a lot of other love reality shows in between. It's all based on looks and vibing, which means do you have chemistry? And they're all allowed to kiss each other during certain events so that they can feel connection. And they're usually blindfolded. What is that message? Kiss as many people until you feel like you have chemistry with somebody. And I just don't understand. You don't kiss before you have chemistry. Chemistry has to come first, and then the physical part.
It's what we've said many times. Some of the touches when we would go to the movies with somebody we were interested in, just holding hands, started to create some of that. And we're skipping that and going straight to blindfolding yourself and making out. That chemistry, like any good experiment, is being built and formulated. It's not necessarily A plus B equals C, blindfold plus kiss equals chemistry. There's a lot more that goes into that. And again, if we're talking about the way that our kids are consuming it and learning from it, you don't want them to think, I'm going to go kiss 100 guys and figure out who I vibe with.
And then they drop bombshells off. So now you've forged forward with somebody and you have a connection and you've become a couple. And then they bring in girls that are scantily clad in like lingerie, and they bring in a couple studs just to shake it up. And you're there to experience and exhaust all the opportunities that you have in front of you. And that is basically steering people into infidelity and saying it's okay for you to feel a connection and be physically attracted to this person. So I'm going to hook up with them, but we're kind of a couple over here. It's promoting infidelity, casual sex, and a lot of other negative connotations like emotional drama, being slutty, alcohol.
And terrible backstabbing.
I watched it with my girls as I was like, what are you so entranced with?
It's become entertainment straight to likes, views, and catching enough traction as an individual or as a couple, either way, where I'm going to get a following. It's all about, let me make my mark so I get a brand deal later. Let me make my mark so people remember who I am so I can go sell a bunch of stuff. And it's the same. It's the same problem we have in our society in general when we're trying to scale things. Some of these shows are trying to have it be less on looks. Unlike Love Island, you have the Love on the Spectrum, Love is Blind, and even the Golden Bachelor, where they're not taking the traditional 20-something-year-old person who's perfect in their prime. You're taking somebody who's a little bit more atypical for these dating shows and giving them a platform, which I think is a benefit. I know in my heart it's just the producers trying to figure out another angle to make it interesting, to get more people to like, follow, and buy. But that's me being a conspiracy theorist.
The Dating Game was a historic American television game show that revolutionized reality TV. And that was the landscape. And it laid the foundational blueprint for modern dating shows like Love Island. It was Chuck Barris, and the iconic series premiered on ABC on December 20th of 1965. I remember watching it and thinking it was hysterical because you had to know your person and you had to answer questions about them and you had to see if you were going to be on the same page or not going to be. I liked that. That was entertaining. It cracked me up. And then the Newlywed Game. I liked that too. There is something catchy and addictive about these types of shows because they're real and it's not a simulation. We all date. We all get our hearts crushed. We all go through embarrassing phases and stages of the process. But this has gone to the next level and we're already having a dating problem within this demographic. They're hooking up. They don't even know each other and they're snapping each other and hooking up and they're missing the whole actual dating part. Even on Love Island, I'd like to see the dating that you got to see in The Bachelor, where it would be a group date and they would all go do something and the Bachelor would see somebody that he had something in common with. Let's say they went and played touch football and he saw somebody that was athletic or fast or whatever, the chemistry started to develop because they were doing something normal and chemistry started to form that way. Love Island, they just plop you down into the middle of Sodom and Gomorrah and you're naked. And it's like, okay, let's rub body paint all over each other while we have blindfolds on and make out and see if you can remember the feel, the taste, or the smell of the person that you're attracted to. It's animalistic. And there's nothing about these scenarios that are reality. That's not where you're going to meet your guy. Maybe at a fraternity party on campus. If you're at a big college and you're going to one of those bubble parties and you're drunk and you're naked and rubbing up against somebody that's hot, I can see that as the incentive to create this format at Love Island.
Life imitates art always. And as soon as you put it out there for public consumption and put a seal of approval on it, that becomes normalized. And these behaviors and these reality shows are normalized. And now that's a way in which that the youth is learning how to get to know someone. And there's nothing to be left to the imagination anymore. And I sound like my mother when I say these things, but everybody knows exactly what somebody looks like because bathing suits have gotten teeny tiny, dresses have gotten teeny tiny. And I feel badly because mostly what I'm talking about is for the girls. Nothing's changed for the boys. The boys are the boys and they've always been the boys.
I don't agree. Love Island, the guys are primping and getting ready just as much as the girls.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying from a body standpoint.
They're showing off their family jewels. I'm attracted to a guy in a pair of board. These guys on Love Island are wearing clinging shorts that reveal exactly what they've got too. And as you're watching the girls get ready in their area for the fun party that is all about hooking up, the guys got out their diffusers, were putting on product. Yep. I was shocked. I said to Abby, I would never be attracted to a guy that has to get ready to go out. It's disgusting. And these guys were all primping and exploiting what they have instead of just putting on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. They're wearing form-fitted Lycra stretch things to show off their assets.
That's because we're being videoed 24/7, like being a model all day long in today's society, not just in reality shows as a contestant, but as a person who just goes to the beach. Somebody's going to be taking your picture. If you don't put some intention into it, you're not going to look as good as somebody who did. And the metrosexual has become more commonplace in the younger generation because they know how to do it. They know exactly what looks good on them, and they're happy to style themselves in a way that's scalable and able to be monetized. To me, that's what it's all about.
And look at UK. I mean, that's where Love Island developed. Look at the European model. Men wear nut huggers. They wear more form-fitted clothing. So you have diversification culturally in these casts. You have people from a Puerto Rican background, or you have a lot of different flavors. And therefore, they're all showcasing what they've got based on their culture. The Bachelor wasn't like that. The women wore revealing dresses for a cocktail party where they were hoping they were going to be asked to have a conversation on the couch and hoping at the end of the party that they were going to be given a rose, which meant they were coming back, maybe lucky enough to get the date and have this ridiculous experience with this guy. But at least you're still doing an activity where you're getting to know the person and you're communicating and having fun instead of getting right to the physical. Do you want to kiss? Their legs are touching. They're caressing each other. They could already be coupled with somebody and they want to kiss to see if there's a connection with this person. So they are kissing and then they're discussing the kiss and if they thought it was good. One girl said, I can taste pheromones and I can tell immediately if I have chemistry with someone. And she had just made out with one guy and she was wiping her mouth off because obviously the pheromones didn't taste good to her. But the next guy she kissed, they got into it. And the amount of tongue that is shown is disturbing. It's like, what the hell?
I said, there's nothing left to the imagination anymore. And back to your point about The Bachelor, it was innovative and groundbreaking at that time. And there was a sense of respect and decorum brought to the show because people didn't do that. It's also kind of like what's happened with the dating apps. When the dating apps first came out, nobody really wanted to go on a dating app. You're desperate. And now, good, bad, the ugly, the beautiful, dating apps have become commonplace. And we know many friends that have found real love and great human beings on these dating apps. So it's quickly changed from traditional values to where we are currently. And where I get concerned is you just don't want the kids to look at this and try and emulate it because it's not a good way to build a healthy relationship.
Abby said, Mom, this is just entertaining. Are you kidding me? I would never do that. Or that's not the way it is. However, I feel like it's spring break on steroids, all these shows. And some of the dating apps swipe right and it's a hookup app and you're going to go hook up.
That's the Tinder app. That's what that one was known for.
You've got to kind of keep on top of these apps to figure out which one is more of a hookup versus meet somebody potentially qualified and classy. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep up with. And when you're idolizing shows like this and the programming is at the top of the charts right now, you hope that this is not because there's relatable aspects that the kids are taking from it and saying, ooh, I'm going to do that. I like that. I'm going to act like she did. I'm going to put myself out there. Love Island is not dating. Superficial shit. It's who you're attracted to physically and who they want to have an experience with, because that's what they're there for, to have experiences. It's chemistry. There's no substance. It's like, what did you think about my kiss? I thought our kiss was great. Do I kiss better than everybody else? You kissed. It's the weirdest, most dumbed down ideology. And all they do is go from one person to the next talking about how good they think their vibe is. It's trash.
It's intentionally over the top. It's the shock value. Everybody needs to one up and get their 3 seconds of fame. The twist of the end of the Love Island, if you don't watch it, they compete for $100,000.
They're once again trying to needle negativity, needle the infidelity piece. The winning couple receives 2 envelopes, and one envelope is the full cash prize and the other, it's empty. The person that gets the cash prize, all of it, they have the ability to keep the money and not share it, or they can split it 50-50. So they're trying to undo everything that they just won. It's the moral compass of the producers and the directors of this show. I wonder how their marriages are, how their relationships are, because they're trying to lead temptation in every avenue as a deterrent from being a good person, from having a relationship with somebody. And now a Bombshells dropped on the island. There's an event where everybody has to be blindfolded and making out is a part of the event. Everybody has to be kissed. They're constantly trying to derail the ultimate goal. And then at the very end, after they've made it through all of the landmines, the last landmine is, do I want to split the $100,000 or do I want to keep it all to myself? Now, the person that keeps it all to themselves is going to be an outcast at the end of the program from a ratings standpoint, going to get annihilated in social media.
Yeah, maybe or maybe not, because in this day and age, we're realizing that the rules are no longer the rules.
While the temptation to keep the money adds major drama, historical outcomes in Love Island demonstrates that the winner consistently split the prize.
You don't want to look like an asshole.
That's another dagger twist.
And everything that we thought was normal and accepted is next level. It'll be interesting to see how many of the contestants moving forward say, I'll take the money.
Who knows?
And there's always a producer that's putting something in somebody's ear. That's the part that you have to recognize. It's not reality TV anymore. It's entertainment, and it's been curated to get the metrics, the money, the likes, views, and the growth.
I hope they recognize that the girls don't have the virtues they want to possess, that this isn't what dating really looks like. And if they looked at it like, okay, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what all these contestants do, then they walk away learning something that becomes a positive.
I completely agree. I think that's why this time of year, we love the World Cup, in past years, the Olympics. We love the watch parties. We love to come together collectively. And if Abby's having friends over to do Love Island, to me, that's the win. Watching it with my nieces and nephews, to have a conversation about these events that are happening, whether they're good, bad, ugly, or beautiful, is the more important takeaway. Know what your kids are consuming and
watch it with them, and then have a conversation about it. I watched 4 episodes with Abby, and she's like, ooh, you like it. You're getting sucked into it. And I'm like, no. I just want to see what happens.
Research. It's research.
But I also wanted to see what happened.
So they did kind of get you a little bit.
I just wanted to see if it laid up exactly the way I thought it was going to, and it did.
Little contrived, but they get you to want to see what the end is. And on the bigger scale of all of the streaming, they make it long enough to keep you engaged, but short enough that they're not going to burn you out, with a beginning, middle, and end, like every good story. Our
Got Grit Award winner would never be a contestant on Love Island. I can tell you that. Her name is Sabrina Gonzalez Pasterski, and she's been coined the new Einstein by Harvard. At 14 years old, she built a plane. Not only did she build the plane on her own, by 16, she was flying it. She applied to MIT. She had great grades, but it's a very competitive backdrop because like-minded people want to go to MIT. She did not get in until she sent them a video of her flying the plane that she built. Then they accepted her. And what she has gone on to do from there is beyond incredible. While so much of today's culture revolves around visibility, attention, and personal branding, like we just spoke about, Pasterski followed a very different path, one focused entirely on learning and long-term research rather than public recognition. Her story is not about hype or fame, but about sustained focus on difficult ideas that take years, often decades, to develop. It shows how progress in science usually happens quietly through patience, discipline, and deep curiosity rather than public attention. More details about her academic work and research can be found on her official website, which is physicsgirl.com. Today, she studies quantum gravity, black holes, and the structure of space-time. Stephen Hawking cited her work. Jeff Bezos personally called her to join Blue Origin. She's turned down everybody. She wants to figure out what is considered unsolved, and that's what she's working towards. This isn't about becoming a billionaire or a trillionaire. She wants to find answers to questions that no one else has, and she's dedicating her life to that. She said no to Bezos, no to Google, no to Facebook, and said, I don't want to make billionaires richer. I want to understand how the universe works.
She wants to make humanity richer by her exploration, innovation, education, and sharing her beautiful mind. I love this story and how she cares so much about her education and only furthering that good. She's so cool.
Everybody needs to go to physicsgirl.com.
Farley and I both did, and we don't understand half of what's on this website, but go try.
I look up in the sky and I've always said that's infinity, and that boggles my mind. And that's what she's trying to define for us. So go to physicsgirl.com to learn more.
Awesome. All right. Our Gut Grit Award winner will now lead us to the song of the week. And this lyric is one of my absolute favorites for one of my children. Staring at the blank page before you, open up a dirty window. Let the sun illuminate the words that you could not find. Reaching for something in the distance, so close you can almost taste it. Release your inhibitions. Feel the rain on your skin. Because no one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else can speak the words on your lips. Drench yourself in words unspoken. Live your life with arms wide open. Today is where your book begins. The rest is still unwritten.
Natasha Bedingfield, that song is so beautiful.
She's got an incredible story too that we'll have to cover at another point. The lyrics that keep you light in your heart and happy, and you can sing and hear 100 times and they just get better and better. I hope that's what we can bring to you with our song of the week. So we want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Girls Gone Gritty. Have a fantastic celebration of our country's 250th birthday. Go out there, don your red, white, and blue. Get your flags out, get your buntings out. Go USA, crush it. We have winning energy, we have good energy, and we just want to share it. So have a great 4th of July.
See you on Thursday.